Okay, let's talk about something that can cause a real headache for any housing society. A committee member just quits. Poof, they're gone. Now what? Well, in this explainer, we're going to walk you through the official, step-by-step process so you can handle this whole situation the right way, with total confidence.
So, a committee member just quit. What now? It might feel like just an inconvenience, right? But here's the thing. It actually kicks off a whole legal process. And if you get it wrong, trust me, it can create some major problems later on. So let's break this down piece by piece so your committee can nail it and steer clear of any of those headaches.
All right, first things first. Before you start scrambling to find a replacement, you have to understand exactly what you're dealing with. Because in the eyes of the law, this isn't just, an empty chair. It has a very specific name. And that name is a casual vacancy. It might sound a bit, casual, but don't let the name fool you. This isn't just some piece of legal jargon. This exact term is the key that unlocks the entire official process. The moment a vacancy is called casual, a whole series of mandatory steps have to be taken.
So what exactly is a casual vacancy? It's any vacancy in the managing committee caused by resignation, death, or disqualification before the full term ends. And here's the really important part. The reason they left doesn't matter. Whether someone resigns, gets disqualified, or, sadly, passes away, the law bundles them all under this one term, casual vacancy. And that means the steps you take to fill the seat are exactly the same, no matter what.
Okay, so now that we know what we're dealing with, let's talk about making the exit official. Before you can even think about finding a new person, the resignation has to be formally locked in. A quick, "I'm out," in the hallway, that's not going to fly. The law demands a proper, formal paper trail.
And that paper trail follows 3 simple, non-negotiable steps. Step 1, the member has to submit an official letter. Step 2, the committee has to formally accept it in a meeting and, this is crucial, get it down in the minutes. And step 3, the SCAE, that's the State Cooperative Election Authority, has to be notified. This whole process keeps everything transparent and totally above board.
And check this out, the bylaws have a really smart rule built right in. It says, the resignation becomes effective only after it is accepted by the committee or on the expiry of 1 month, whichever is earlier. What does that mean? It means the committee can't just sit on a resignation letter forever. If they don't do anything, it automatically goes through after a month. It's a great way to make sure the process doesn't get stuck.
Okay, the resignation is official. The paperwork is done. Now we've got to fill that seat. And the most common, most direct way to do that is through a process called co-option.
So what is co-option exactly? Well, you can think of it as the committee's internal hiring process. Instead of going through a whole big election with everyone in the society, the remaining committee members get to vote and appoint a new eligible member themselves. It's the fast-track solution to get the committee back to full strength.
Now hold on, it's not a total free-for-all. There are some really important rules. The person you pick has to be an active member, and they can't have any pending society dues. But honestly, the biggest rule, the one you absolutely cannot mess up, is about reserved seats. If the person who left was in a seat reserved for, say, a woman or another specific category, their replacement has to come from that same category. No exceptions. This is super important to maintain the committee's legal structure.
And there's another big one, a limit. You can't just fill the whole committee with co-opted members. The rule is that the total number of co-opted members can't be more than 1/3 of the whole committee. And why is that? Well, it's a democratic check and balance, right? It makes sure that most of the committee is still made up of people elected by the society, not just handpicked by the other members.
So co-option seems pretty straightforward, but what if it doesn't work? What happens when this simple method just isn't an option? Well, the law has a backup plan for that too.
And that's when things get a bit more formal. A by-election is required if the committee can't manage to co-opt someone, or, and this is a big one, if it loses its quorum. So imagine the committee just can't agree on a replacement, or even worse, so many people have quit that they can't even hold a legal meeting anymore. That's when you have to call in the cavalry, and the process escalates to a formal by-election.
And that phrase I just used, losing its quorum, is super important. What is a quorum? It's just the minimum number of committee members you need to have a valid meeting and make decisions. It's usually half the members plus 1. If you drop below that number, the committee is basically paralyzed. It can't vote, it can't pass resolutions, it can't do anything. It's completely stuck. That's why filling these vacancies fast isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential.
So when you look at it, you've got 2 very different paths. On one hand, you have co-option.
It's fast, it's internal, and it's all decided by the managing committee. On the other hand, you have a by-election. It's slower, it's much more formal, and it's run by the SCEA, that external authority. It's a completely different ballgame.
All right, we're in the home stretch. Let's go over a final checklist of rules, records, and responsibilities to make sure everything you've done is 100% airtight. Because when it comes to this stuff, proper documentation is everything.
So, here are the crucial rules you've got to remember. First, always check that you have a quorum before any vote. Second, always verify that the new member is actually eligible. Third, always respect those reservation categories. And finally, and this might be the most important one, pass an official resolution for every single step. This is your legal shield. And that brings us back to the official paper trail. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Every single action needs a document to back it up. Think of it like a chain of evidence. You have the original resignation letter, then the minutes from the meeting where you accepted it, then the notice you sent out for the co-option meeting, then the resolution that officially appoints the new person, and to cap it all off, the new member's M20 bond, which is their formal promise to do the job right. This chain of paperwork is your ultimate proof that you did everything by the book.
So let me leave you with this question. Is your committee's paperwork ready for a sudden vacancy? Because look, the question isn't if this will happen, it's pretty much when. And being prepared isn't just about knowing the rules in your head. It's about having a clear, documented process locked and loaded. If you follow this guide, you can make sure that what starts as a simple resignation doesn't spiral into a full-blown crisis for your society.